Hi, my name is Dean Paul Denniston, and today we'll be replacing the front and rear wheels on the Razor Vector electric scooter. This process is of medium difficulty. It should take you approximately 20 minutes from start to finish, but if you're only replacing the front wheel, it should take you around 5 minutes. You will need the following tools. If you're only replacing the front wheel, you will need 2 5mm Allen wrenches. For replacing the back wheel, you will need a Phillips screwdriver, a 19mm open end wrench, a pair of scissors, and 3 zip ties. This process can be completed in 6 easy steps. Step 1, remove the front wheel. Step 2, install your new front wheel. Step 3, disconnect the motor. Step 4, remove the rear wheel. Step 5, install your new rear wheel. And step 6, reconnect the motor. Now let's get started on step 1, removing the front wheel. I like to prop the scooter up with a stool to make it easier to remove the wheels. Simply put it under the frame. Using your 2 5mm Allen wrenches, remove the bolt and receiver on either side of the wheel. The bolt will thread out easily while the receiver has to slide out. The wheel is now free to be removed. Just slide it straight out. And that concludes step 1, removing the front wheel. Now on to step 2, installing your new wheel. Take your nice fresh wheel and slide it in between the forks. Line up the holes and slide the receiving end of the bolt through the side. Insert your bolt through the other side and start threading it in. And using your 2 5mm Allen wrenches, tighten the bolts down. You can hold with one side and tighten with the other. Once the bolts are snug, you're done with step 2, installing your new wheel. Now on to step 3, disconnecting the motor. The first thing we're going to do is remove the 3 screws in the battery cover. Using your Phillips screwdriver, remove those screws. Once all 3 are removed, you can take off the battery cover. Pull it out and to the left, and set it aside. Now we can disconnect the hub motor. Find the thick cable and trace it to the controller. You'll find 5 plugs. Disconnect all 5. For the big one, pinch and separate. Do the same for the small one, pinch and separate. And for the 3 colored connectors, simply pull apart. Now using your scissors, you can cut the zip ties. Be very careful not to cut the wires. The remaining 2 zip ties secure the cable to the frame. Let's go ahead and cut them. And that concludes step 3, disconnecting the motor. Now on to step 4, removing the rear wheel. Now using your 19mm open end wrench, remove the nuts on either side of the wheel. Remove the second nut. Followed by the flat washer. And then lastly, the lock washer. Now you can gently pull the wheel down and out. You can now feed the cable through the frame. And that concludes step 4, removing the rear wheel. Now on to step 5, reinstalling the rear wheel. Let's start by feeding the wires through the hole in the frame. I like to start with the big plug first. Guide it through the hole and pull it through from the other side. Next, we're going to loosely secure the cable to the frame with zip ties. Slide the zip tie through the bracket and connect it around the cable. leave it a little loose so it can still adjust. Now slide the wheel up into the frame. Now install the washer, followed by the locking washer, followed by the nut. Tighten it by hand and do the same to the other side. The washer, followed by the locking washer, followed by the nut tightened by hand. Once both sides are on, secure them down with your 19mm open-end wrench. One side at a time. And do the same to the other side. And that concludes step 5, removing the rear wheel. Now on to step 6, reconnecting the motor. Now that the nuts are secure, pull the slack out of the cable and tighten down those zip ties. Using your scissors, cut the excess off the zip tie. Be careful not to cut the cable. Now take your third zip tie and zip tie all the cables together. Using your scissors, cut off the excess carefully. Now we can reconnect the motor. Plug in the big plug, followed by the smaller plug, and lastly, the 3 color-coded plugs, green to green, blue to blue, and yellow to yellow. Now tuck in the wires in front of the controller. Now it's time to reinstall the battery cover. Place the front side tabs in first, followed by the back side. Using your Phillips screwdriver, reinstall the 3 screws. That concludes step 6 and the process of installing new wheels on the Vector electric scooter. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. If you still have any other questions or concerns, please feel free to contact customer support on Razor.com. Now get out there and have some fun. Bye-bye.